Good morning, Mike. You talked about this a little bit after the game yesterday, and obviously it's a little easier coming off a win. But in teaching this young team how not to make the same mistakes and how to learn how to win in this league, if you can put a grade on it, how are they progressing at this point?
I think they've done an outstanding job. It starts with the coaches. I think really helping these players improve from week to week. The way the entire team has come in and competed week after week, the way they prepare. There's just so many things when you're a young player or a rookie in this league, and even some of the younger players that haven't played a lot, is there's a lot to learn. And there's only one way to learn, and that's to go out there and actually play in games at the NFL at the speed you have to play at. And it goes to show the more you play at your position and with your teammates, the better player you become. And I think there's been so many examples of that on our roster this year. Very pleased with the way the players are developing and growing and becoming better players in the way they've been coached all year long.
Sorry, Mike, I don't know if we caught the beginning there. Did you have an opening statement, or did you say anything about injuries?
No, there's no update on injuries. With the schedule today, I have not met with Matt yet. That'll happen later today. So
Okay, I want to ask you about Bo. How influential is Bo throughout this kind of offensive resurgence, and what do you think about the work that he's done?
Well, I think he's done a nice job calling the game. And I think the entire offensive staff, the way they work together, the way they put the plans together, the way they communicate on game day, the week of preparation, the communication with the players. I think it's by committee of everyone having their role and getting the players ready to play on Sundays, and then Bo calling the game. And there's been great communication throughout the game with talking about, hey, what we're doing next. But I think Bo's done a nice job.
I know you're roaming between offense and defense. What can you kind of describe how you were involved in game planning before in your old role, offensive game planning, and how you're involved now?
Well, obviously now my role now, I split the rooms, during the week, going from offense to defense. But I've always met with the offensive staff at different times during the week since I've been in my current role, and I've always given my suggestions, and we talk about the game plan. And like I said about the way they've been communicating the past weeks and how we do it on game day, it really hasn't changed a whole lot because we all have our roles, and we have the input, and there's certain suggestions and certain things we like to do. But I think there's been great communication by the offensive staff, and with that great communication, I think you've seen the offense do some really nice things the past couple weeks.
John?
Hey, Mike. I had a question on Cam for you. I never get the sense that at any point during the season did he really lose confidence in himself, but at the same time, when a young quarterback kind of sees, tangible results in terms of numbers and in production and so forth, how much does that mean to him, and how much does it serve to boost his confidence level?
Well, Cam played an outstanding game yesterday, and I just think the way he prepares, I've told you guys a number of times that he wants to be great. He tries to play perfect. You're never going to play a perfect game, but he just continues to get better week in and week out. You saw him, check into a play yesterday that became a big play for us. That was not a scripted play with an alert or anything tagged to it. He did it on his own. He took off and ran once again to get a big first down for us. And I just think you see him getting better week in and week out. Is it perfect? No, but it's never going to be perfect. But, he just continues to get better. And I think the way we run in the football, it helps him tremendously. And I think Cam's really now understands the benefits of playing in second and medium to short and third down, same type of deal. So I'm just very pleased with his growth week in and week out.
Quick one, if I can. The third down success you guys had yesterday, that had been a challenge for most of the season. What do you kind of attribute that to yesterday? Was it basically just a case of less yardage to go on a lot of third downs, or is there more to it than that, do you think?
Well, it's players making plays. And I think when you do play in third and short and third and medium, it's a lot easier. We started out, unfortunately, the game with the 3rd and 17, whatever it was early on, which you don't want to have. And that's what we had, way too many of those early in the year of 3rd and 10 pluses. But as you see, that's the way you want to play the game. I mean, when you can be in, 52%, that has a lot to do with the running game. There's certain things you're going to do to when you're playing in the shorter situations to be able to mix in runs, things like that. And then it comes down to players making plays. There were some plays that aren't always open, and there's some ad lib in there. But it was just great execution by the players. Give them a ton of credit for doing that. And that's why you start scoring more points. When you're good on 3rd down and good in the red area, you score a lot more points.
Terry, then Jim.
Mike, why do you feel like the offensive line has seemingly responded so well to Scott Fuchs and Matt Jones, even in the aftermath of losing Bill Callahan? It seems like that it's taken a while, but they've kind of gotten everybody on the same page.
Well, I think they're two great coaches, and I think they learned from one of the best in Bill. And I think that, they were in those rooms all the time with Bill, and they had a certain role with Bill, obviously leading the group. But when you learn from one of the best of them, it makes it a lot easier to go in that room. And, they've done it together, which I think is great for the both of them, the way they run the room, the way they do practice, the way they are in game day. Obviously with Scott being down on the field and Jonesy going upstairs a couple weeks ago. So I think there's been great communication. And they've done a great job helping these players. And then, the players love it when you run the ball 40 times in a game too. So, I'm very pleased with what they've done and happy for how they've led the group.
How is it? Is it confusing at all as to how they've divvied up the roles? I mean, does one of them focus on the tackles and the other focus on the interior guys, or how do they divided up the role?
Well, when we first made the change, obviously the New England week, we sat down and kind of talked. I talked with both of them and kind of said, okay, listen, this is what we need to do. This is how we're going to do it. You're both going to have a hand in this, and I want you two guys to kind of sit down and talk about it and what is the best thing to do, and stay as close to what we've been doing and how they've been in their roles. And I think they've done a nice job at doing that. So there's been great communication on a daily basis. Whether it's in the protections, whether it's in the run game, whether it's in practice, game day, it all starts with communication. So give those guys credit for the way the offensive line's playing right now.
Mike, I know you've talked about how much you like to lead and enjoy being in this position. How much, from a personal standpoint, have you enjoyed kind of seeing guys buy in and ending the season with some momentum and some good vibes?
Well, I love leading an organization, a team, and I think the players have done a phenomenal job of buying in to how we want to play, what we want to do, the entire organization really, because we're all in this thing together. So it's very rewarding when you have a game like yesterday, because this is what the players, the organization deserve, is to go out and play the way we did against a really good football team, Kansas City, who's been one of the best for, they've been in 7 straight championship games, and just the way our team has played in all 3 phases. And we got some great leaders on our football team and in this organization. So I'm just so happy for the players because they deserve to win. They put so much, they bust their tails week in and week out. They've worked extremely hard. They've stayed positive. Same thing with the coaches. The plans they've put together, it's been a lot of fun seeing the guys execute the way they did yesterday. And it's not surprising at all the way they've worked.
Let me ask you one on James Williams, too. How do you do stepping in for Sed?
Yeah, I'm so happy for James. And I said that early in the week when we knew that Sed was going to be out. It was, as players, you wish you could play everybody. But that's not the way the game works. So the NFL game is an opportunity. It's you got to make the most of your opportunity. And that's something that James did. James worked extremely hard the entire season. Did a great job whenever he was over on the look teams for the offense, in the kicking game, when he's playing, obviously being a core special teams player for us all year long. And you just love turning the tape on last night or this morning and watching it and see him making the plays that he made, getting the sack, Just so happy for him because it's like I said, it's all about making the most of your opportunities. And he went out there yesterday and did that.
Mike, Cam yesterday, he spoke to the point of being able to kind of know what the defensive coordinators are going to do against him. So I want to ask you, just as far as like seeing him mature mentally, like how have you seen him come around from that aspect?
Well, like we've mentioned from the very first day, there's going to be some ups and downs during the season with the rookie quarterback. And I think, Cam understood that. And it takes a couple games to really get into that sync of each week, how are they going to attack you differently. And then obviously being a rookie, there's going to be some change up. There's going to be plenty of unscouted looks. They're going to pressure you probably a little more than you might see on tape. But I think yesterday is a great example of seeing him, making a check at the line of scrimmage, taking off, running, picking up a first down in a certain situation, doing a good job in the running game of, when to hand it off, when to throw it outside, whether it's an RPO or there's a bubble involved, certain things like that he's doing. And you just see him managing the game. But when I say that, that's not being conservative at all because he takes his shots downfield also. But, he's learned a lot in his first year in the league, and he's doing an outstanding job and just really pleased with the way he played yesterday.
And from a mental aspect, what would you say has been the key for him to be able to kind of weather that storm and begin to, dig out of the hole, so to speak, of all the struggles throughout the year?
Well, he wants to be great. And Cam works extremely hard. Early on, we talked about in the offseason program after the draft how he was in here watching tape bright and early, and that's the way a lot of the rookies have been since they've got here. So it just goes to show when you work the way he does, how it's going to pay off in the long run. It may not happen right away, but when you play the way he did yesterday, there's a reason for it, and that's because of all the hard work and just the patience. And I know there's been a lot of frustrations too through the season because he wants to be great, but it's just a matter of the coaches and everybody just continue to help him. Just keep rolling. It's just one play. The mistakes are on us. Just keep on going and try not to make the same mistake twice.
Hey, Mike, when you took over this team, it was in a pretty bad spot. How individually validating is the turnaround for you as a coach?
Well, give credit to everybody involved. It's just not me. It's the entire organization buying in, supporting one another through some tough times. It wasn't easy early on, obviously. That was a tough situation for all of us. But, the entire organization jumped on board and rallied with each other, and we've stuck together through the tough times. We've got give the players a ton of players and coaches both for sticking together, working together. Nobody was pointing fingers. Some leaders on the team had to stand up and make sense. It's hard to lead at times because you gotta cross the line every once in a while and speak your mind, and that's what great leaders do. And sometimes the truth hurts. But we've got great leaders here, and give everybody in this entire organization, top down, a ton of credit for sticking together. And when you do that, and when you have the type of players we have with the work ethic and what it means to play this game, you get results like we had yesterday. So couldn't be happier for everybody in the entire organization for the way they've bought in. And it's not just about one person. It's everybody in this thing together.
Mike, the last 3 weeks, Jalen Harrell's had 2.5 sacks.
Yeah.
To what do you attribute kind of his uptick in production?
Well, I think it's making the most of your opportunities. You're playing more. You look at the players on the defense that he's playing with, the leadership, the way they work. He's got 2 vets that he's behind, he's been working in with, and they all rotate, obviously, during the games. You got a great player like Jeff inside, and then it's a great example of a guy making the most of his opportunities and more playing time. And, give the coaches, give Ben credit for the way he's worked with him. And how he's done and how he's helped him become a better player. And that's why, like I mentioned earlier, give these coaches a ton of credit for helping these young players play at a higher level and getting better every week.
Hey, Mike, I'm curious, with behind the scenes stuff, when you guys are talking to players, do you ever bring up the examples of what's going on in places like Chicago, New England, Jacksonville with these quick one-year turnarounds for young teams? And I know you experienced one in Jacksonville when you first got there. Just do you see any qualities of this team that could potentially lead to something like that as this team kind of moves into next year?
Yeah, no doubt. You see the way we played yesterday, and that's an example of when you keep working, you just keep going. You can't worry about it. You get another opportunity every week in the NFL. You only get 17 games on your schedule, obviously, and they're a gem every week. You have to go out there and prove that how you play as a football team, how you individually play. It's an opportunity to get better, and there's the ups and downs. It's not easy to win in the NFL, and I think the way you've seen this team grow and the way you've seen them play week in and week out, they just keep fighting, and that's what it takes. And you got to teach these guys how to win, and it's just going to carry over. And now we, after this week's win against Kansas City, now we got to move on to New Orleans and find a way to start stacking wins. So continue to grow as a team and keep on playing, and it'll all carry over. But this organization's got a very bright future with all these players playing in the way they're playing. So, we got to worry about this week right now.
Is there a difference between learning how to win and learning how to stack wins? Or are those different lessons they have to learn?
Well, it's all about winning. It kind of works hand in hand. Once you start making the plays like we did yesterday in the game in all three phases, now you got to carry that over, to the next week, and that's critical. You can't worry about how we played yesterday. Now we got to move on to New Orleans, have a great week of preparation, and play our best game. You always want to be playing your best game week after week, and especially in December and January.
Let's go Jim, then TD, then finish with Chris.
Mike, we've seen the schedule a little bit adjusted this week. What was it like kind of navigating that and trying to get your work in, preparing for the Saints, but also giving coaches and players some time during the Christmas holiday?
Well, that was an easy one for me. Knowing, I'm a family person. I really, we can't thank our families enough for the sacrifices we make as players and coaches and everybody in an organization. So when I started looking a couple weeks back at what we were going to do, I thought of family first, and thinking that give these players and coaches and everyone in the organization opportunity to spend the entire Christmas day with their families. I think they deserve it. Your kids are only a certain age for so long, so the more time you can spend with them on Christmas morning, they deserve it. And it's easy. It was an easy decision for me to make the schedule because the type of players we have and their work ethic and how they've worked week in and week out through the ups and downs of the season. They haven't flinched at all. So I had no hesitation at all of saying, okay, hey, we're going to practice Tuesday and Wednesday, get out of here Wednesday afternoon, and then enjoy Christmas Eve and Christmas with the family, because these players deserve it, and I got all the confidence in the world that they're going to prepare the right way and come back Friday focused and continue to work the way they have all week long. So I'd like to say Merry Christmas to all of our fans out there and everybody in the organization, to have a great Christmas with their families.
And did you have some family on the field with you after the game yesterday, and what was that like?
Well, I had my son Luke with me, and then I had my adopted son, to what I saw last night on the media. That was Mike Bargonzi's son, Joey, that was with me. So it was kind of great to have him down there, and all the media posts last night, my two boys out there, but that was actually Mike's son with me. And, having him come from Kansas City, Luke's now 23, so 13 years ago, I know what Luke went through on game days when we played another team, or, through my days in Denver and San Diego, when you play the teams where you're coming from or your coach, what it means. So it was a great opportunity to take Joey out there with us and see some of his old favorite players, and obviously Coach Reed, what a great guy he is. Go out there and shake his hand and talk about everybody. So it was a lot of fun being able to do that, and, Luke had a great time taking him around also.
With Cam setting the franchise rookie record for passing and Gunnar Helm for tight end receptions, and you look at Chim DK, the franchise record for kick returns, can you speak to the pride that you have in this rookie class and what they've been able to accomplish so far?
Yeah, one other note on Chim I just got this morning on my desk. He's the fourth rookie in NFL history with at least 4 receiving TDs and multiple punt return TDs. But just, what an outstanding year he's had, and really all the rookies. I mean, the way they've all played, And it really goes back. You don't want to single any just one guy out, I think, but it's just they've all done such an outstanding job from day one. And, even the guys we brought in, mid-season, last week, things like that, give these coaches a ton of credit for helping these players play the way they have. But it's a special rookie class. Just the way they work together, it's neat to see because it's not just in this game. It's not just the Sundays or whatever day of the week you're playing. It's the relationships you build over time, and it's a special group. So it's been a lot of fun to watch them and look forward to see them play the next couple games at a high level and continue to get better.
Last one, Chris.
One more about Cam, that specific play that he hit Chim on in the scramble and then going to the sidelines. Now that you've watched the film on that, can you describe just how technically how impressive that was for him?
It's one of those wow plays that nothing's there, and then you just have an ad lib, and that's what great players do. It's just great to see that. As he scrambled to the left and outran everybody, and for Jim to react the way he did, and then to have the defenders chasing him and be able to make that play, that's Cam. And that's what you love about him. He has that ability to make those plays, and that's what the great players in this league do. There's plenty of plays that are covered, but when you have players like Cam with the athletic ability and the ability to throw on the run, and the willingness to hold the ball as long as possible to get that ball out, that's what it's all about. So that was a phenomenal football play by Cam, and it's another big play for Jim to make, but just really pleased with the way those guys have been playing together. All right, well, have a great Christmas.
Thanks, Coach.
Merry Christmas to everybody.